Good morning. I'm glad to be back. So today's talk is called Leave the Light On. And it is impressive how often we will turn the light off because we don't like what's going on around us and we're not going to turn it back on until that changes. And we've missed the point. Leave the light on and it will change. Leave the light on and it will change. It always does. And still I will throw a temper tantrum in one form or another. Often temper tantrums come in very quiet forms. They aren't always kicking and screaming. Temper tantrums sometimes are very silent and very depressive and self-attacking. If not attacking the world, they can attack oneself. And it's all I have to do is give over to God again to ignite that switch, ignite that flame, as it were. That's all I have to do is have a thought of spirit, a thought of God, a thought of light, and the light goes right back on. Oh, actually, it never went out, but in my eyes, I can see it as if I just turned it on again. It's very impressive. This week, several times, I said, okay, Spirit, tell me what to think about. And suddenly I was lighter, life was easier, and I was far less critical of light and what have you. And so I see, it's a cyclical is the best word, but it's up and down and up and down and up and down. Like a sometimes a very fun roller coaster. And sometimes a horrifying roller coaster that you're sure you're going to be thrown out of. What was it a couple weeks ago? Some park. The roller coaster broke down in the middle. Now, no one got hurt, but there was somebody in the car hanging upside down in a loop. I was like, oh, that's where my faith in God might be questioned. That my faith in good might be. How can there be good and this happen? And yeah, Marilyn, were you the one in the park?
I needed to see things differently.
Yeah, and it's and that's life. Things happen in life, and we say this life isn't supposed to be like this. Life wasn't supposed to happen this way. I went to U-nity, and they promised me good. Well, I went to U-nity, and they promised me good. And I had to learn that good doesn't always look like I imagined good to look like. Good does not always mean we. Good does not always mean Yahoo. Good doesn't even mean thank you, God, some days. Neither does it mean abandon the faith that I had when I liked everything that was going on. You know, those days, isn't it easy to love God? On the days that you like everything tastes delicious. People are smiling at you and they're happy to be around you. They answer their phone. They answer their emails. There's no criticism anywhere. The weather is the perfect temperature. The pool is the perfect temperature. And there's a pool. Nobody scares you on the highway. And you didn't even think to turn on the news. So it's all good news. And oh my goodness, I love God on those days. God just tickles me on those days. And then those other days when I think to turn on the radio and I hear things that rattle me. And then I begin to forget. And I can't see the light. I mask. I put my hand over this. I hide it under a bushel. And I forgot to basically leave it on. I turned it off in my mind. And then I remember again. To turn on the light. And what we want to do from now on is remember to leave it on. We want to remember to leave it on. The light has nothing to do with my preferences The light doesn't care about what I want. God doesn't care about what I want. That has nothing to do with spirituality, quite frankly. It's not, spirituality is not a bank vault. And spirituality is not an indulgent grandmother who will give me prizes whether I deserve them or not. Because to an indulgent grandmother, I always deserve stuff, candy, cookies, all sorts of stuff that may not necessarily enhance me 50 years later. And so that's not what spirit is about. And yet, I was taught, go to God. When you want something, go to God, go to God. But it took till unity for it to be explained to me. Yes, go to God to develop a consciousness of manifestation. Go to God, go to source, go to light for that consciousness, that you may be a powerful manifester because you know what God is. So suddenly it won't be about manifesting a car. It'll be about the power that manifests a car. It won't be about cash and prizes. It won't be about who likes you and who doesn't. It will be about the conscious connection to your source or to your light that allows you to see. Allows you to see in love and spirit. It allows you to see in joy. And that's what develops confidence. And I know there are some of us who say, yeah, but just when I think I'm going to get it, I don't. And that means that the earthly thing, was the prize rather than the connection to source. Years ago, before I found unity, I had started a healing process. And I was promised all sorts of wonderful things. Things like confidence, things like freedom, things like faith and a power greater than myself. I was promised that I would not regret the past. And I was promised I'd know what to do with the past. And I was promised. I remember a man one night in a room said, God has better things in store for you than anything you could ever imagine. And I could imagine some pretty wild things. One thing I could not imagine at that point was serenity. Couldn't conceive of serenity at all. I thought the things would give me serenity, and they never do. You get a new car, you need mats. You get a new car, you worry about it getting hit and things like that. So I never got serenity from a new car. And while I do enjoy a new car, I never got serenity from that. I never got serenity from a relationship. Anybody? Anybody ever get into a relationship and say, yes, now I'm in nirvana? No, it's the next step in learning to where to place your faith. Everything okay?
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is going to be cutting in and out. I don't know why.
Well, there we go. More reason for people to walk through the door.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes, their Wi-Fi open if they could close it.
Yes. If you have Wi-Fi open, please close it down. And so, the things of the earth do not give us serenity. And here's why. The things of the earth will fall apart. They will disappear. They will get old and stop working. They will rust. Moths will break in and eat them. It's so the things of the earth, but it's the things of the spirit that are lasting. And it's that light. It is that eternal light that we want to keep alive and awake within us. And I'm going to read a couple of things here because I can. From Unity pages of old. And first, I wanted to read the metaphysical, the revealing word definition of light. Because the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary is just like one sentence, and I wasn't satisfied with that definition. But this one, light, the understanding principle in mind, in divine order. It always comes first into consciousness. Light is a symbol of wisdom. When Jesus said, I am the light of the world in John, the book of John, he meant that he was the expresser of truth in all its aspects. Jesus had confidence in his faith. He had faith in his faith, as it were. Because he knew his function was to love God. And not just love God, but realized he was loved by God eternally, and it had nothing to do with physical conditions. He understood, as we have been taught in Unity, we can shift physical conditions all over the place. We can do it, as they say, pick up this mountain and throw it into the sea with a new thought. And so, I have changed physical conditions with my thinking. Anybody? I was going to say, don't make me the only one. I know we all have, because we go to the store and we change a physical condition. We diet, we change a physical condition. We do things. If you skip a stone across the lake, you have changed the physical condition of that lake. And if you throw enough stones into that lake will disappear. That lake will overflow, and poof, it's not a lake anymore. Now it's a bedrock, or a bed of rocks. And so to pay attention, we change physical conditions. You drive through a beautiful snowy road. It's not a beautiful snowy road anymore. Now it's a filthy, mucky mess, perhaps with swervy lines on it. So we have the power to change physical conditions. You get new teeth. You just shifted. You get a tan. So pay attention to that. It's not the physical conditions that are the big deal, but it took our mind to do it. It started first in thought. A moment said, well, I didn't make it snow. No, but you chose to drive in it. And that shifted things. Some would say, I'm not going to that party because what difference does it make if I go? Well, you won't know until you go. You go. And, well, nobody will talk to me. And it's like, well, how do you know? And then, will you talk to anybody else? Will you go up and talk to anybody? What I learned, pay attention to this, I think I've told it before, something I do, if I go to a party where I really don't know anybody, I've been invited, and I will find an empty room and sit down in it. And I guarantee you, people will be drawn to you, and they'll come over and sit by you, and the conversation will begin. And suddenly you'll be around 4 or 5 people. It's much easier than going into a group that's already established their energy, and you don't know what they're talking about. I find that difficult, and I have been known to be embarrassed by that. But if I go into another room, suddenly I'm the creator. And I'm serious. I watched somebody do this when I was a kid. I was cater waitering a party, and I watched a guest do that. She sat down all by herself in this empty living room. Next thing you know, she had a crowd around her. So, take my word for it. She turned on the light, and people were drawn to the light. And you sit down by yourself in a chair, turn on the light. People are going to come. Don't put on that. Well, if I sit here, people are going to think nobody wants to talk to me. No, everybody wants to talk to you. So go prepared with topics. Conversation. Don't bore them with silence. Once they're there, chat with them. Ask questions about them. That's always a good one. So, listen to this. The light of the Christ means to man what the light of the sun means to the earth. The seed of man's eternal sonship is within him or her, and it will grow into a beautiful expression as the light of the Christ nature stirs within him or her. The light of man's spiritual nature can turn darkness into light. And what is darkness but confusion? Darkness is, I can't see. I just can't see what's going on there. But the light of man's spiritual nature. So I'm going to say, okay, there's light here. Let's turn it on. It can change a barren life into a productive life. Through prayer, this is constantly happening in the lives of individuals. So if you do not know how to succeed, if you don't know how to proceed further in your journey, Ask yourself for light. So, oh God, please give me light. Ask yourself for light. I am willing to have light on this so that I may seed the next part of the path to success. I am assured of success, but I need light to see the next part of the path. Some people refuse to put light on this part of the path because they can't see the light on that other part. You got to put it here. You got to see the next right thing to think, say, and do before the one after that. Now, you may get a line, several, but how can you see the end before you see the next part? Or you do what I do sometimes, like if I'm writing a letter or something, I'll write the end, and then I know what I have to get to. I go back here, and suddenly there's lots of light on the letter, on the communication, because I know I have to get over there. That's why Kenneth and I plan our songs in advance. I know I've got to get to the last song in a Sunday talk. Anyway, we are living on a planet whose nature is light. Light is within us and all about us. We are truly children of light. Have you thought of yourself in this way? How many of you really think of yourself as a light on your path? As a light in this world? Are you a light to yourself? I didn't know I had to be a light to myself. Oh, I'm waiting for somebody else to be the light for me. I'm waiting for everybody else to be the light for me, and then I'll turn on my own light for myself. Yeah, put your mask on first. I don't mean oxygen mask, light mask. You know, the light is right here. Wherever I am, the light is. Wherever I am, the light is. Start knowing that, wherever I am, the light is. So it's here for me to see. And a lot of those of you who write or something, you know, you could write 3 things you don't like to get to the one you do. You could make 4 phone calls to finally get the 5th one where they answer. And so to pay attention to all that, declare the light of man's spiritual nature can turn darkness into light. It can change a barren life into a productive life. I love that. The light can change a barren life into a productive life. Now, May Rowland, those of you who don't know who May Rowland is or was, May Rowland grew up in Unity. She went on to become the director of Silent Unity, but when she was a little girl, her father mortgaged his house in order to build the very first Unity Church on Tracy Street in Kansas City. Now, Charles Fillmore had put it out there to do a collection of money, and a man came up and gave a dime. And by the time they had finished that collection, they had about $7. Now, this is in 1904. And with that, May Rowland's father went over and he mortgaged his house in order to be able to, for the Unity to build their first building, which still exists on Tracy Street. I've been to it. Teresa's been to it. You've been to it. Mm-hmm. Did you guys ever go? No. Anybody else ever been to the Tracy? David has, yes. I like that building a lot. And its minister has been there since he graduated, since he was ordained in 1984, I think it was. And he went and got it back from the Teamsters who owned it at that point. And he bought it, and this would be a large crowd on a Sunday, before COVID. And so but it's still in the archives are up there. Myrtle Fillmore's old office is upstairs, where her healer's offices are still upstairs, and it makes my heart fuzzy when I go there. So May Rowland, I wish I had met her. I wish very much. But she says the seekers of the light are one. And she says, have you realized that there are people in every nation of the earth who love all humanity? People who are seeking to bring peace, understanding, and brother/sisterhood into the world in which we live. These people are instruments of God wherever they are. Sometimes, as we think of world affairs, the outlook seems dark. Now, this was written back in like the 30s. Understand this. Sometimes, as we think of world affairs, the outlook seems dark. We see only the working of evil forces and the preparation of instruments of destruction. But God, who created this world and called it good, is still in charge. Let us align ourselves with this tremendous power of God. Let us cooperate with God in bringing peace, love, and understanding into the world in which we live. It is up to us who live on this planet to learn the first secret of life. We are children of God, and cooperation and expressing God is essential. Many years ago, William Bradbury wrote a song called "O Life That Maketh All Things New." And he said, "From hand to hand the greeting flows. From eye to eye the signals run. From heart to heart the bright faith glows. The seekers of the light are one." United in the truth we stand, proclaiming peace to every hand. So declare yourself as a seeker of the light, united in an invisible bond of love for all humanity. Not just some, but for all humanity. Not just some, but for all humanity. Affirm, I have faith in mankind. I know that good shall be victorious and nothing can defeat it. So we're going to say that together. I have faith in mankind. I'll say it first. I have faith in mankind.
I have faith in mankind.
I know that good shall be victorious.
I know that
Good shall be victorious, and that nothing can defeat it.
and that nothing can defeat it.
Beautiful, beautiful. She says you will have a different feeling about yourself when the light of your spiritual nature sheds its radiance. Oh, you will have a different feeling about yourself when the light of your spiritual nature sheds its radiance upon every part of your life. Think about that. Think about that there will be light shining on every part of your life. Every part. The part you like and the part you don't like. But you'll know what to do with all of it. We pray daily for world leaders that they may find unity in thought, purpose, and understanding, that they may be inspired to right action for the mutual good of all mankind. That thrilled me to read that, and I thought, oh, I wish I'd have read this years ago, every single week. We pray daily for world leaders that they may find unity in thought, purpose, and understanding, that they may be inspired to right action for the mutual good of all mankind. And finally, cleanse your mind of thoughts of prejudice, intolerance, and all of the attitudes of mind that are a part of the warring consciousness. And this last thing comes from Gospel of John, chapter 21. When you have given yourself fully to the Spirit shall be fully within you. This is not a change at all, for this is as it has always been. But in your sleep you do not know. So the realization of your truth is but an awakening from a sleep in which you thought one thing was true when it was not. In your awakening, you will not be tested. For all that I give freely for you to accept. But you may seem to be tested before you have awakened fully. No, these tests do not come from me, meaning Spirit. It is the ego tempting you to hold onto the world. Let these temptations go and follow me. I will give you something to do that is a mission of heaven and great joy within the world. This will be your path to awakening, each path unique, and yet each path the same. Because each path serves the purpose of leaving the world of illusion for the truth of which we are. The light is in all beings, and all beings are the light. All beings shall be known by their light, because the light is their truth, and all beings know their truth and will follow it. So today I encourage each and every one of us, as we go through our day, and every being that we think of, every being that we see, invite their light to shine. You might need to do this silently.
Yeah.
Invite their light to shine. It's already here. And encourage your own light to come forth. Let your light so shine, and then leave it on. Thank you.